You're watching GV Kids Inc. News with your anchors Danielle Apple and Anna Polakovich. Coming up on this edition of GV Kids Inc. News, get the latest update on the Village Center development. Hear what the Village is doing about medical marijuana dispensaries. Learn what changes are in store for your child in the classroom as a result of school budget cuts. Plus, more exciting news ahead. All right here on GV Kids Inc. News.
Hello, welcome to GV Kids Inc. News. I'm Danielle Apple.
And I'm Anna Polakovich. Thank you for joining us. Medical marijuana dispensaries have become a growth industry in Colorado this year, with hundreds opening their doors across the state. But they will not be opening shop in Greenwood Village anytime soon. The City Council approved to ban medical marijuana dispensaries from operating in the village. Our GV Kids Inc. news reporter Dawson Stout has more.
The debate over the legitimacy of medical marijuana dispensaries was put to rest, at least for now, with the recent pass of the new state law that regulates how they do business.
The new law essentially regulates medical marijuana industry in a similar fashion to how we regulate liquor licenses. So it sets up certain requirements as far as where the marijuana comes from, where the facilities can be located, and then who can own and operate those facilities. Again, very similar to the liquor license standard, and it just sets up a local and a state level licensing requirement process for that.
The new law also preserved the authorities of local governments like Greenwood Village to decide their own destiny with these facilities.
Greenwood Village is following the same policy that we have for quite some time, and that is referring back to the federal legislation that currently we believe prohibits these facilities in the communities around the country. And that's the same position that we relied on in our current discussions this summer. The state did pass some legislation that allows for local control for communities, different communities, to make that decision, and we again went back to that federal statute and used the local control initiative that was available to us.
While some cities and towns view these medical marijuana shops as another source of revenue to cover lingering budget shortfalls, Mayor Sharp says this was never an option for Greenwood Village.
Greenwood Village never considered medical marijuana facilities as a source of revenue. We were always very focused on the safety aspect. Our community is a small one, so the location of these facilities many times would be in locations that would be closer, actually even a part of residential areas. And again, it gets back to the safety of our residents, and that was a primary consideration, not revenue.
The new village law also doesn't apply to people who have prescriptions to use medical marijuana. They just can't buy it legally in Greenwood Village. Looks like they will have to travel to surrounding communities other than Greenwood Village to get their prescriptions filled. I'm Dawson Stout reporting for GV Kids Inc. News.
The police department released a report today that crime in the village has dropped over the past 5 years. In 2009 compared to 2008, single-family residential property and person crimes decreased by 29% and 39%. Also, there is a decrease in multifamily residential person and commercial property crimes by 12% and 6%. The police department says these crime reductions are a result of a combination of strategic operations and community programs that are paying off.
The police department has one employee who is dedicated full-time to analyzing crime trends within the village. What that means is that she looks at the dates and times and the patterns in which specific types of crimes occur. As a result, that information is given to our detectives and our patrol officers so that they can designate their patrolling and efforts into specific locations at the right times and the right dates with a higher potential of being able to catch people who are committing crime. One of the things that we stress in the police department is for our officers to direct their patrolling time into specific targeted locations with the intent on reducing the fear or potential for crime. As a result, our officers, when they're not obligated to a specific call, spend their time directly patrolling neighborhoods and business areas for high visibility and with the intentions of removing crime or the fear of crime from targeted locations. By having more officers on the street and patrolling neighborhoods helps deter people from committing those crimes. We are a community policing organization, which means that we strive to develop partnerships with multiple members within our community to help resolve crime and social disorder issues. Fortunately, in the city of Greenwood Village, we don't have significant social disorder issues, so we're able to focus on those crime trends. That begins by attending a variety of meetings, from homeowner associations to business community meetings, developing partnerships with our hotel communities, and working together. Technically, the citizens and the people that work, live, and play in this city are the eyes and ears. When they provide us additional information on suspicious people or things that just look out of the ordinary, it affords the police department a much more timely response to try to address a potential criminal action from occurring. So they really are a big valued component of our organization, and it is something that we strive and work diligently at, ensuring that we work together very closely.
To stay up to date on crime trends in the village, citizens now have access to timely crime data in their neighborhood. Just visit the village website at www.greenwoodvillage.com and click on Government Services, Police Department, and Crime Reports. Enter your home or business address and you can view crime data for your neighborhood.
Reserving a park field, shelter, or pavilion just got easier because of new park regulations adopted by the City Council. Village residents and businesses will now enjoy a residents-only permitting period of 60 days to secure a spot at village parks for their family reunions, company picnics, and HOA events. Gatherings of 30 or more people are required to obtain a reservation to use a village park. And wine, champagne, and beer may now be served at private parties, weddings, and other special events by obtaining a special occasion alcohol permit. The village says the new park regulations were necessary in an effort to meet the needs of park users. You can learn more about the village's new park regulations or how to obtain a reservation by calling the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Department at 303-486-5773 or visit greenwoodvillage.com.
Progress continues to be made at the Village Center development, with the announcement of another big name relocating to what will be another landmark destination in Greenwood Village. Chinook Tavern will be opening their doors at the Village Center later this year, and from what we have heard, the restaurant will be well worth the wait.
We were in Cherry Creek for 14 years, as some of our guests will probably remember us, and quite honestly, the rents in Cherry Creek became unsustainable for a garden-level restaurant. So we started looking on possibly relocating, and as we were looking through our database and talking with our loyal customers that we had for 14 years, we realized that probably over 60% of our clientele comes from Greenwood Village and this area. So it seemed to us as a natural move to come here. The reason for the Village Center, we think it's an absolutely beautiful building. The location is phenomenal. It's got great accessibility. It's also very visible. We really like public transit, and being right here on the Arapahoe Light Rail Station, we found it to be very exciting. And really in this corridor will be one of the very few restaurants that's directly on the light rail station. So we're really looking forward to that. This building offers 800 parking spots. Free parking to our customers. We're going to be serving what we call European-inspired fare, and what that means is we draw from classic and contemporary dishes from Europe and beyond, which my brother Marcus, who's our executive chef, then adds his own interpretation to. Some of the items that would, I guess, fall under the classic would be our Jaeger Schnitzel, which we served in Cherry Creek for 14 years. That's sauteed veal medallions with the wild mushroom cream sauce. Again, with the classic sort of Bavarian direction, where we'll be serving some roasted pork shank, roasted veal shank, those type of things. As far as bringing back some of the classics that we had in Cherry Creek, that certainly will be a part of the menu. Well, we have an interesting combination of sort of the rustic European feel, so there's going to be a lot of wood in the place, but also very, very modern furnishings. So a nice combination of the rustic and the contemporary, with nice leather seating, some modern lighting. We feel is going to be a boon to everybody in this neighborhood, and I think it's going to be a very viable part of the city of Greenwood Village. And there's obviously lots more large offices and other restaurants starting to look at this space, so we're happy and thrilled to be here.
You can follow the opening of Chinook Tavern, as well as other announcements regarding the Village Center, on Facebook, the Greenwood Village newsletter, and at www.greenwoodvillage.com.
The Public Works Department announced this past July a 3-year plan to begin replacing bridge railings in Greenwood Village. We talked with a member of the Engineering Division of Public Works to find out all about their plan.
Greenwood Village is replacing their bridge railing due to reports we received from CDOT. Every 2 years, CDOT comes out and they inspect the bridges. On those reports, it stated the railings needed to be either refurbished or replaced. CDOT inspects the bridges for sufficiency ratings, which allows them to be either posted or not posted for truck weights. Our contractor is scheduled to begin September 13th. The contract is to last 2 months. He's got 2 bridges to do. The ending date would be November 13th. The rails will be replaced here at Franklin and Highline Canal, as well as Orchard and Greenwood Gulch. The impact to motorists to the neighborhood with the Franklin Bridge should be minor. The work hours are from 8:30 to 3:30, which is outside the rush hours. And then if there is lane closures, flaggers will be on site. As for the Orchard Road Bridge, there will be more impact. Those work hours, it's a much more busier roadway, and there will be delays to motorists as they replace the railings there.
Phase 2 of the bridge rail replacement program will occur in 2011 and Phase 3 in 2012. Watch for more information about locations and brief lane closures in the Greenwood Village newsletter and on the Village website and Facebook.
This past August, the City Council recognized a number of residents for volunteering their time to the village. 8 former Commission members who served on the Commission for Planning and Zoning, Parks, Trails, and Recreation, Arts and Humanities, and the Board of Adjustments and Appeals were honored for their services during a special recognition.
I decided to volunteer for the city as an Arts and Humanities council person because I'm interested in the arts, and I just thought it'd be fun. It'd be fun to work with Joe Cole, to be over at the Curtis Arts and Humanities Center.
Well, the reason why I chose to volunteer for the city is because I really wanted to give back. The city has given so much to me. I played in their golf program, and it really helped me out, and it gave me a spot to be during the summer, and I wanted to make sure that opportunity was still available for other kids out there.
I learned so many different things. I met many interesting, neat people, came across fabulous ideas that people had, but I'd say the main thing we concentrated on was a scholarship for, creating a scholarship for, an art scholarship for kids outside of Greenwood Village, actually in the Arapahoe County District, and that was our main endeavor. And so it was a long sort of growing process, and a lot happened over 12 years, but we've given many scholarships over those years.
I learned a lot, mostly how everything goes, like how everything's run, but how it's also important to have a voice, that your opinion does count. And I don't know, one of the benefits I got was I would be driving down the street and I'd realize that I'd be going by a project that I just voted on, and that felt good. So there's a ton to learn, but it was mostly just how things went.
I think it's very valuable to be a volunteer because you grow as a person, and it is, I think, a very good feeling to know that you are contributing to the community, and it makes you feel like you're more a part of the community versus just living your own life, and that's something that I really enjoyed.
I would recommend kids to get involved in the city because it makes it a better city for them as well as the kids who follow them. It gives them something to do. If there's something that the city doesn't have that they really want, they can get on board and express their opinion, and maybe it'll become developed, and it'll make the city a better place, a more diverse place for everyone.
To learn how you can volunteer with the village, citizens are asked to call the city clerk's office at 303-486-5752.
If you live or work in Greenwood Village, you may have seen a tall, grassy mound with a spiral sidewalk and have always wondered what it is for and why it is there. Our GV Kids Inc. news reporter Sarah Sangfer talked with a longtime member of the community to find out the mystery behind this precious piece of earth.
Some people call it the Mystery Mound, while others think it's shaped like a beehive. But whatever name you may have called it, there is some truth to why it exists.
I've had fun telling people it originally was an anthill, and it just grew and grew and grew like the beanstalk did. But it started out with the idea that it was, it had feminine characteristics. And I knew about it. I don't think anybody else imagined. And then in the disillusionment that we had of the partnership between the tech center and myself on this, all of the undeveloped land, some way that deed to that mound became the under the title and ownership of the tech center. And how it ever got that way, got taken away from the Plaza Tower 1 building, I'll be darned if I know. So that was the genesis of that piece of earth.
Today, the Mystery Mound is maintained by a Metro District, and Mr. Madden says he hopes the Mystery Mound remains in the village as it is today. An enlightening story which goes back to the saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Getting information about news and events in Greenwood Village just got easier for people preferring a social media platform to keep current on happenings. The village is now on Facebook. Citizens can learn of issues, breaking news, village events, and business information regarding the village community via Facebook. To sign up, go to facebook.com and create your own profile. Then, search for the city of Greenwood Village. Click to be a follower of the city and begin receiving daily postings. Village officials say that although they have started using Facebook, there are no immediate plans to start tweeting at this time. They would like to build the village's Facebook page first before pursuing any other social media sites.
It has been several months since the start of this capital improvement project, but now the village is gearing up to put the finishing touches on the Orchard Trail undercrossing. A great safety improvement project for the community and well worth the investment.
The project originated out of the need to eliminate floodwaters from overtopping Orchard Road. The last occurrence of this was in 2002, and as a response, Urban Drainage and Flood Control District conducted a hydraulic study that showed approximately every 10 years Orchard Road would be overtopped by nearly a foot of floodwaters. And in the 100-year storm, it would overtop by nearly 2 feet of floodwaters. This was seen as too much risk for not only the traveling public on Orchard Road, but also the residents downstream that could potentially see a catastrophic failure of Orchard Road with that much overtopping. It was determined that a 10-foot high by 10-foot wide box would be required to pass that amount of floodwater underneath Orchard Road. And when looking at the north-south trail system along Goldsmith Gulch and the fact that there was a pedestrian undercrossing shown in the Tommy Davis Park master plan, it became a real viable opportunity to widen out the box and make it a pedestrian undercrossing as well. So after multiple public meetings and approval by both the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Commission and City Council, the box culvert was widened from 10-foot wide to 16-foot wide, which allowed it to not only pass floodwaters under Orchard Road, but it also allows for a safer crossing for pedestrians. The project in total, both design and construction, cost approximately $1.2 million. Fortunately, 2 partners saw the benefit in the project and contributed funds as well. First was Urban Drainage and Flood Control District. They contributed $265,000, seeing the benefit of controlling the floodwaters. And Arapahoe County Open Space also provided $250,000, seeing the benefit of a safer pedestrian undercrossing for Orchard Road. So in total, the village paid just slightly over 50% of the project, and the other 50% was from outside contributors.
Coming up next on GV Kids Inc. News, learn about some exciting changes taking place for the Greenwood Village Chamber of Commerce and hear how your local library is changing the way they do business. Plus, other important news about your community coming up after the break.
These hands hold tight. These hands love. These hands support. These hands create. These hands save lives. To empower your hands to help make a difference, call the American Heart Association at 877-242-4277 for a CPR class near you. These hands are wise.
The The economic downturn continues to take a toll on many businesses, and the state budget crisis presents new challenges for public schools like the Cherry Creek School District. Ours Grace Stahl sat down with Cherry Creek's Superintendent Mary Chesley to look at what the future holds for education and what her district is doing to help keep the economic crisis from causing an educational downturn.
Well, Cherry Creek, like every other government agency and every business, is absolutely affected by the recession. Last school year, we saw it coming, so we looked at our budget, looked at many things, and studied from August until January when the legislative session began. Cherry Creek began to see that our revenues were going to be cut by about $14 million. We also knew we were going to have more students and it was going to cost more to educate more students. So Cherry Creek was in that place of less money but more students to educate, so we'd have higher expenses. So both things needed to be looked at. So we came up with 80 budget reduction cost containment measures. And last spring, our school board studied, met with the community, and passed 80 reductions, and that ended up letting us start the school year with a balanced budget.
Can you give some examples of those cost containment measures?
We did have to look at, and we looked at everything. So there were some large ones and there were some very small ones. The largest was we sat down with our employees, and as we worked through our negotiations, our teachers in this very critical time agreed to a 2-year contract, and they saved us $5 million. So knowing that this was a difficult time and knowing that a school district can't just operate year to year, we have to plan ahead. I'm most appreciative of all our employee groups, but our $5 million in what we needed of $11 million in cuts was found through our teacher groups. We also had to make some decisions around transportation and the start and end of the school day. It doesn't sound like that costs money, but the order in which students come to school really does. So that was another $1.8 million. We've reduced in smaller amounts, food, travel budgets, and then everybody's budget in the school district was cut by 5%.
How do dollars approved in the 2008 election factor in the district's overall budget?
We are very, very fortunate because I said we had this revenue go down 14 million, costs go up, but I'm saying we only had to cut 11 million. That's because the voters in Cherry Creek in 2008 passed a budget election. That $11 million helps us not just next year but going forward. So when I look at my colleagues around the state, those school districts that did not have successful elections, they had to do things like increase class size, close schools. We were fortunate in Cherry Creek that because of the voter support of the schools, we didn't have to go that deep.
That's good. Looking ahead, how is Cherry Creek prioritizing excellence in the classrooms and with its academic programs?
Well, I think Cherry Creek, even though this is a bad time economically, we always look at what's the best thing for our students. So we prioritize through our values, and our values are to deliver the best education to all of our students. That first priority is actually achieved by hiring and retaining the best teachers. So those remain the top 2 priorities in the district. And what we've had to do is look at what are those things that are absolutely important to make those 2 things happen and what are complementary. We've liked to have the complements in the past, and in this economic time we have to maybe shed some of those complementary things and make sure that the things that are required are in place for our 50,000 students.
Lastly, with no immediate end to the recession anytime soon, are there any immediate concerns of the school district going forward? And if so, how are you addressing those concerns?
Well, definitely we do have concerns around the budget, and one of the things that we always have to look at is we could be concerned about the budget, but our highest concern has to be about the education of our students. So we will look during this legislative session of what our state legislature will have to do. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, last year we were prepared for maybe the cut could go this deep. this would be conservative and this would be very best case scenario. What we did in our district was plan for conservative, and we actually got a little better reduction than we had originally thought. So we are prepared going into this school year by our conservative measures last year of being a little bit prepared if deeper cuts have to be made for next year. The most important thing that the Cherry Creek School District can do is to do everything possible to keep that brand of a Cherry Creek education means an excellent education. And that's very difficult to do because we know that our constituents' minds aren't just on the biggest building in their neighborhood. As the recession has hit our schools, it absolutely has hit our constituents. So it's probably more important than ever for the biggest building in the neighborhood to be the most inviting building in the neighborhood, to be the best maintained building in the neighborhood, to be the best example of what happens in public education. I will always be concerned about, well, what next? Usually in history would tell us that when a recession happens, that legislation usually follows to try to support the nation, in our case to support public schools. So we need to be attentive to those things that will be on the ballot or be in the legislature concerning public schools. Our goal is to be as educated as we can be and to be the best example. We're in a little tenuous place because as educators, we aren't allowed to speak about ballot issues necessarily as freely as a citizen who doesn't work for government. So it is very important that we always encourage, and we should as a school district, to encourage our constituents to be as educated about legislation and ballot issues as we always encourage our students to be as educated as they can be.
This recession has made everyone tighten their belts, and many hope the worst times have passed. You can learn more about the Cherry Creek School District on their website at www.cherrycreekschools.org.
The Greenwood Village Chamber of Commerce announced the hiring of their new CEO earlier this summer. John Herbers, a village resident who brings over 35 years of multiple industry business experience, says he is aiming to take the chamber to the next level.
As the new CEO of the Greenwood Village Chamber of Commerce, I'd really like to see us figure out a vision together for what chambers ought to look like in the next 5, 10, and even 20 years. Our economy's changing, our society's changing. Young people have different views than we had when I started out in business, and I really want to find out what the chamber needs to become in order to serve the next generation and generations after them to come. To support that vision of in essence, reinventing what a Chamber of Commerce is while keeping all of those important programs and aspects that people have learned to count on, we need to really involve more of the young professionals in our community. And as such, we've created a Young Professionals program that will involve young professionals in our community under 40 years of age and provide them with over 40 tutoring, mentoring, coaching, access to the business community in a way that would be difficult, if not impossible, for them to obtain otherwise. And so by involving the younger generation in the chamber, it will itself have an impact, a positive impact on us, evaluating our value proposition to them while engaging them at the same time, and really working on aspects such as corporate responsibility and community involvement, those kinds of things that are more important than ever in our community. In addition to the young professionals, one of the things I'm very interested in is, especially in this economy, is how do we as a chamber affect employment within our community and within our state for that matter. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is to try to work with local area developers to create a conference and business incubation center where companies from around the state or from out of the state could come visit and look at the business support services that we can help them in their relocation for jobs here in Greenwood Village and the entire community. One of the things that the communities become appreciative of the Chamber for these special events that we put on each year. Starting last year, it was the first year for a business expo, and this year was its second time, and it was just very well attended. People appreciated it. Next year will be even better. The Goose Chase is an important event every year. It's a 5, 10, 15K walk, run, bike, picnic event that is very well attended. We had it this year for the first time at Village Greens Park, which is a great venue, worked really well. We now believe that with the city helping us with this event at Village Greens, that we can actually double or even triple the number of participants that we've had in previous years, which will make it really that much more a great event. And then this year, we're just very excited about the Taste of Greenwood Village. It'll be the 10th anniversary for the Taste, and we now have a new location for it. It'll be at Palazzo Verde here in Greenwood Village, and first time in that location. And if you haven't been there, it is an absolutely stunning place to have an event like this. And instead of just one event this year, will actually be 3. And in the Madden Museum, there will be a black tie optional dinner featuring a steak dinner and a chamber orchestra, and you'll be surrounded by architecture and art and music, and it'll just be a wonderful, wonderful experience. On the right-hand side in the Mangia Bevi area of Palazzo Verde, you'll have an Italian dinner put on by 4 different Italian restaurants, and it'll be a jazz entertainment in there. And in the center atrium for everyone, you'll have a wine and cheese pairing. Wines from around the world. There are 8 European wineries coming in to showcase their wines, and cheese from a cheese importer that comes in fresh daily, and these cheeses and wines will be matched. It'll be just absolutely fantastic. And then outside in the lawn area, we'll have about 30 some other restaurants and other kinds of entertainment going on out on the lawn and tent area. So it really looks like it's going to be the premier event of this fall for the Chamber, and we're really excited. We expect a couple of thousand people there, and we're really excited about having that. It's September 30th this year. There are a number of reasons why you might want to look at Chamber membership. Certainly there is always the community involvement and corporate responsibility aspect, and we certainly appreciate all of the support from the businesses that we get out of the community. You do obviously make new friends, new relationships from your involvement in the Chamber. But in addition to that, with our focus really on the young professionals and really working toward corporate responsibility and corporate involvement, community involvement by the young professionals and what they're doing in terms of community outreach, other charitable organizations within the community and how they're helping them, and what we can show your employees and your organization in terms of education and training, because you would like to help us support job growth in our community and help us with the conference center and the business incubation center, and help us build the resources that will really help you and your company grow stronger and be better. For all those reasons, really, you ought to look at joining the Chamber, and the dues are really a good value, and we intend to keep them that way. And I would say above all, we always intend to remain an organization that serves its members, not the other way around. We understand a lot of things have become institutionalized today to where they serve their members less and less, and we want to be the opposite of that, really. We look to our members to understand what their needs of our mission, our values, our purpose are, and really to serve them.
For more information on the Greenwood Village Chamber of Commerce and its programs, please call 303-290-9922 or visit www.gvchamber.com.
It is becoming more popular for people to get around town using other forms of transportation besides their cars. An organization known as the Transit Alliance launched a program this past summer to help link walkers and bikers with public transit. Let's hear how people make their 10 toes work for them.
10 Toe Express is a pledge program that gets people to connect with transit through biking and walking. We have a lot of goals of the program, trying to get people to be more healthy, more active living, and of course to get people to take transit more often for both personal and commute trips. The program is actually funded through the federal government for a congestion mitigation and air quality grant. So the bottom line goal is that we'll have environmental impacts that will help with emissions reduction, CO2 emissions, things like that. But in addition, we know that there's really been a big change in people's kind of outlook and perspective on both health and activity in our region. So getting people to both bike and walk for more healthier living, to get children to have the role models of people being a little more active and taking different means of transportation for, like I said, all personal trips, commute trips, going to the coffee shop, going to the grocery store, and even, you know, for those daily commute trips back and forth to work. You know, this is a program that we've modeled on programs that take place in both St. Louis and in Portland, Oregon. And with the information we have from them, we're anticipating about a minimum of 1,000 pledges this summer, with the hope that, of course, the program will grow in numbers next year in 2011. We do expect, in relation to the people that are participating, to have people cross the barrier of age in that demographic. We've had some folks that are younger students, but we also expect we'll have some of the older retired folks and a lot of people in between. We have had tons of people register from across the metro area thus far, from as far north as Boulder, Lafayette, Louisville, all the way down to Lone Tree, Greenwood Village, Centennial, and of course the Denver metro area. We've had a lot of commuters so far sign up, but we'd really like to expand that into just the everyday general folk that are working on being a little more healthy and a little more active this summer.
For more information on next year's 10-Toe Express program, which begins in May 2011, please visit 10toe.transitalliance.org. It's a great program to pledge for better health.
Car seats are important instruments to keep babies and toddlers safe, and yet the vast majority of parents do not use their car seat correctly, putting their children in harm's way. Our GV Kids Inc. reporter, Grace Stahl, has more on this alarming trend.
The statistics are alarming, as motor vehicle injuries are the leading cause of death among children in the U.S. But many of these deaths and injuries can be reduced by more than half or prevented if children are placed in age and size appropriate car seats and booster seats.
South Metro Fire sees many problems with our motor vehicle crashes when kids are involved. One of the big things that we're seeing is that we see lots of injuries from those kiddos, but we're also seeing some deaths because people are not having their kids in the car seats correctly, and that's a worry to us.
The first step is to choose the best car seat to purchase, and with so many on the market, it can be an overwhelming task, especially for those first-time parents.
For infants and toddlers, you definitely want a car seat that's going to fit that toddler and still give them a little bit of room to grow. So you're wanting something that has a 5-point harness, something that goes over both shoulders, over both hips, and then one strap that goes in between their legs. That really is going to hold them in nice and tight and secure. But we need a seat that also allows room to grow for the kid and also for the car, to make sure that it fits well in that car.
Once you choose the best car seat for your child, it is time to make sure that it is installed correctly in your vehicle. But most importantly, that your child is safe in it too. After all, it is the law.
Back in your car seat, okay? Ready? Woo! There we go. All right, Madeline. So when we're looking at car seats, we really want to make sure that we have kiddos who are rear-facing. The law is that they have to be rear-facing until they are at least 1 year of age and 20 pounds. So when we have this clip right here, we want this clip to be clipped together, and we're going to want it right at the armpit level. And then we're going to want to buckle in our other buckles. And then we're going to want to tighten. Using this cord right here, we just pull it up and we tighten. When we tighten, we don't want to be able to get, we don't want to be able to pinch right at that shoulder area. And right now, it's perfect. I can't pinch there, but I can still get a finger in there. And here we have this clip right here at her armpit level, which means that this part will not fall off of her shoulder. So every car seat that is forward facing has a strap, and if your car is newer than 2002, you should have an attachment point in the back. Some are actually on the seat itself, some are down on the bottom, some are even up high. And all you do is you just click that part in, and then you tighten it so it just is taut. what this is preventing is from the entire car seat really moving forward in the event of a crash right there at that head. So it's really preventing some of that forward movement of the head. All right, Drew, we're gonna put you in your car seat, okay? Ready? Whoosh. There we go. So Drew, when we put in our car seat, we want you to put your arms in to the straps, and then when you're forward facing, we want it to be at your shoulder height or a little bit above. When little sister's in her car seat, we want those shoulder straps to be at your shoulders, at her shoulders, or a little bit below. This clip right here, we want that always right there at your armpit. And then we're gonna strap you in the rest of the way. And where's that other one? Here it is. Now we're gonna check and see. Right now I can pinch. That means that it is too loose. So we're gonna wanna tighten it. We tighten it by this piece of webbing right here. And tighten it up. When we tighten it up, we're gonna check again to see. I can't pinch, but I can still get a finger underneath. That's a real comfortable fit right there. And here we have, again, armpit level. And I love this fit on of Drew in this car seat. Drew has one layer of clothing on. He is getting it as close to him as possible. We don't have blankets underneath him or sweatshirts underneath him or on him and underneath this harness system. We only want the one layer. If it's cold outside, we just want to put a blanket right over Drew to make him a little bit more comfortable if it's cold. We have our head protection right here on this car seat. It's right at his ears, which is a great place for it also. We have a little bit of extra padding that came with the car seat itself, just for a better fit since he's a little bit smaller. But as he gets bigger, this padding will just be able to be taken out.
It is important for parents to understand that car seats are not intended for children to sleep in and should only be used to protect them when riding in a car. If a child is left in a car seat for long periods of times, this could lead to lower oxygen levels and pose a threat for injuries if the child falls out of the car seat. The safest place for a child to sleep in is a crib that meets current safety standards.
Thanks, Grace, for that important safety report. South Metro Fire Rescue Authority offers courtesy inspections of child safety seats and booster seats on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of each month. Please call 720-989-2271 for an appointment.
Today, more and more people are using the internet to gather and retrieve data, which has made libraries change the way they do business. Our GV Kids Inc. news reporter, Sarah Senkfor, visited Coble Library to learn how the Arapahoe Library District has converted the in-person book checkout to a virtual library.
Libraries may still look the same like they did when you went to school, but how they operate today is quite different.
Really, the goal of Arapahoe Library District is to meet our patrons' needs, and realistically speaking, those needs are changing every day. With an increase in technology and the need for job assistance and small business help, it's really our goal to design our services and initiatives around meeting those needs, especially when we're talking about technology. It's everywhere today, and we really want to provide our patrons with the resources necessary to use technology to the best of their abilities.
With the use of technology, the Arapahoe Library District offers a more convenient way to check out your favorite book.
Well, what's really great about the Arapahoe Library District website, which we sometimes call our virtual library, is it gives patrons access to our resources and information, gives them a choice. They can either access that information from the comfort of their own home through our website, or they can come into a branch. But I'll tell you, our website is fabulous in the sense that patrons can look for their favorite books and movies right online from the comfort of their own homes, and then they can even place holds on them and have them delivered to the library that's most convenient for them. So it's really a convenience factor as well as just being able to use technology and a way to better serve the patrons. And browsing online is very easy because it's very visual, and we've got the book jackets and the DVD jackets, so you can see what you're really looking for and wanting to find as far as books and DVDs. We have more than 3,000 audio book titles available on our website, and that's really great because you can download those very easily to your MP3 players, to your iPods. You can also burn them to CDs and listen to them while you're traveling in the car. Along those same lines, we have the e-books available as well. Those can be downloaded and easily accessed and read on your home computers, or if you do have an e-reader device such as the Sony reader, that's perfect as well. We also have these new wonderful devices called playaways. They're actually really cool because they're very tiny, only 2 ounces, and they come preloaded with your favorite books. And really all you need for the playaways are some earbuds such as these, or a car adapter, and you can listen to it while you're driving, working out, doing yard work, cooking, whatever. They're really fun and they're really easy.
If you don't know what book you are looking for or where to find it online, you can still talk to a librarian.
Book Librarian is also a new service here at Arapahoe Library District, and it is great because what it does is give patrons the opportunity to reserve one-on-one individual time with a staff member here at the Library District for free. And that staff person is going to be dedicated to really fulfilling the research, information, and resource needs of that patron. As far as topics, the sky is completely the limit. The staff people can help patrons research colleges or research for a paper or SATs, or even how to plan the most cost-effective family vacation. So really, again, the topics that can be covered in that service are unlimited, and it's a great service for patrons to take advantage of. And again, it's free.
The use of technology has also helped the Arapahoe Library District cater to young patrons with a children's website that should make moms and dads very happy.
Along with many of the children's programming we offered and child's story times, we do also offer a child's website on our website, arapahoelibraries.org. Again, this website for children called the Tales Treehouse is catered just for children. There are games, activities, puzzles, and information for kids that is presented in a way that enhances learning and promotes literacy. The great thing about the Tales Treehouse website, again, website specifically for children, is that it's also good for parents. It provides great resources for parents as far as what books should I have my children read and what activities really promote literacy in my youngest. The Library District website also offers online homework help. This is great for any age student, and what it is live homework assistance daily from 2 to 11 p.m. in lots of areas and subjects, including social studies, math, reading, foreign language. So really another great resources, honestly, for students and for their parents.
With the growing demand for online services, the Arapahoe Library District also provides an array of technology-based programs and classes.
At Arapahoe Library District, we offer hundreds of programs a month for every age of our patrons, whether you're a child, teen, or adult. And some of the hottest programs these days are obviously technology-based because technology is hot and people want to know about it, and we know that, which is why we create programs to address technology. We have lots of free computer classes, again, ranging from all levels, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or you're looking for advanced assistance and Microsoft Office, such as Word or Excel. We do have a computer class for you. Another great free class or program that we offer is Life 2.0, and really what that program does is provide insight and information on some of the newest, greatest social media tools out there, and provides patrons a little bit more education on how to use those to the best of their ability. Some of those tools being YouTube and blogging and Facebook. This is the class for you if you want to learn more information about any of those topics. We also have great teen gaming programs. Gaming is very popular amongst our teens, and many of our libraries are well equipped with the latest and greatest gaming technologies such as Wii or Xbox. It really gives teens a great reason to come to the library, and it also builds friendships along the way while having some fun. We also offer a lot of great programs that both offer small business assistance and teaches our patrons how to effectively use some of our small business resources such as our database, Business Decisions. It's a great demographic marketing resource for small businesses. Some other great programs that we offer here at Arapahoe Library District have to do with getting a job. The reality is there are a lot of people looking for jobs here today, and we're here to help them do that, whether it's building a resume, preparing for an interview, or looking for a job that would be a good fit for you. We most likely have a program to meet that need.
Thanks, Sarah, for that report. To learn more about the Arapahoe Library District's programs and services, visit www.arapahoelibraries.org or pick up a copy of their monthly newsletter at Cobo Library or at one of their other library locations. We'll be right back.
Okay, this time I'm gonna do it. I'm going to actually go to school.
Tell me about some of the stuff you've had to deal with.
I just dropped out completely. I just got caught up in it, the whole scene with the alcohol and the drugs. I was arrested. A lot of my friends, they were really concerned, especially my friend Aaron. You just have to find someone. They don't have to tell you advice, they don't have to do that, they just listen.
Give your friends the boost they need to graduate. Join us at boostup.org.
It may have been a hot summer, but the economy is anything but. For many families, pricey camps were not an option this past summer. So the village stepped in to provide some help to the parents that made summer fun as close as their own backyard.
Every summer, kids of the village come out and play, and this year is no exception. Today we are at Silo Park to participate in another fantastic Fun in the Sun event. Activities include disc dogs, wet and wild, copters and cops, and engines. We asked some of the participants how much fun they were having.
My favorite dog was Bonza, and it was a really great show, and it was really fun.
I'm with Bob from Parks, Trails, and Recreations. Can you tell us about the Fun in the Sun?
Well, Fun in the Sun's a program where we run 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to noon during the summertime. We have different theme days every day. Like today was our Colorado Disc Dog Days. Frisbee dogs, we do. We have the museum come out a couple days, the zoo come out with some animals and stuff. It's just a real fun time for kids to spend part of their summer, 3 hours a day, and it's really fun. They have a blast.
Probably watching Bonsai make a really 80-yard catch.
What's your favorite dog?
Bonsai. My favorite was Bonsai. My favorite was Bonsai.
It looks like Bonzo was the favorite. Well, looks like another great summer for the kids in the village. I'm Dawson Stout for GV Kids Inc. News. Back to you in the studio.
A young boy with a desire to help a family member has turned his cause into an annual event that has captured the hearts of many. The second annual Derek's Dash was held on August 29th at Village Greens Park. Attendance was record-breaking, showing that people can make a difference. A young boy with a desire to help a family member has turned his cause into an annual event that has captured the hearts of many. The second annual Derek's Dash was held on August 29th at Village Greens Park. Attendance was record-breaking, showing that people can make a difference. His name is Derek Radowski and has suffered from Dravet syndrome, a form of childhood epilepsy, since he was 6 months old. Derek's Dash was coordinated by Derek's cousins Ethan and Molly Woodoff, along with their friends who are committed to find a cure for this disease.
When I was 9 years old, I held a golf fundraiser for my cousin Derek. He's always been a huge inspiration in my life. And when I was 13 years old, I'm actually Jewish and I have my bar mitzvah when I was 13. And you're required to do a mitzvah project. And since I figured, since I was 9 years old, I had done charitable events for my birthday parties, that I had to make something big, and this is what I came up with. So
we had to call all the sponsors, see if they can come or donate, and the silent auction is actually a big part of it too. We like to stay in while everybody's running, but before everybody is running, we'll just kind of be one of the participants and make sure everything's going okay.
The success of Derek's Dash is because of the tremendous support from the community and the will of our younger generation to make a change.
Yeah, and be able to help a good cause. Yeah.
Hopefully their efforts will make a difference in the lives of Derek and other children in the near future.
Just because summer is over and the kids are back in school does not mean the fun stops. This fall, the Greenwood Village Recreation Division has many more activities planned for youth of all ages and skill level. Fall registration is open for youth lacrosse camp, youth skateboard camp, Pee-wee soccer, youth basketball, Pee-wee basketball, and the 3rd annual triathlon. For more information or to register, please call the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Department at 303-486-5773 or visit greenwoodvillage.com.
The Curtis Arts and Humanities Center hosted a number of great programs this spring and summer, but one event in particular captured the likings of some aspiring participants and observers like me. The show must go on, and it did here at this year's theater camp. It started with an acting workshop where actors and actresses brushed up on their acting techniques to land that leading role. But the show could not go on without the people behind the scenes who helped put the performance all together. With the backdrop in place, the props lined up, the lighting set, and the makeup and costumes perfectly coordinated, it's lights, cameras, and action. If you missed this year's performance of The Three Little Pigs, be sure to watch for next year's show. This year's show was such a hit at the box office that I expect some great things from this cast in the future. That's the end of our news report today. I'm Anna Polakovich.
And I'm Danielle Apple. Thank you for watching us here on GVTV Channel 8.